The hallway outside Muhammad Ali's locker room was filled with reporters, photographers, and trainers rushing back and forth, each one carrying the weight of the upcoming championship fight. But behind one quiet door, the atmosphere was completely different. No noise. No chaos. Just calm. Inside sat Muhammad Ali, the man the world called the greatest. His gloves rested on the table beside him, and his robe hung neatly behind the chair. Ali hummed softly, rhythmically tapping his fingers on his knee, the way he always did when he was fully focused. His eyes were closed, his breathing slow. He looked like a man preparing not just for a fight, but for destiny. Then the peace shattered. The door slammed open with a force that made even the walls shake. A tall man in an expensive black suit stepped inside. Gold rings, slick hair, sharp eyes that screamed danger. Behind him stood two massive bodyguards, men who looked like mountains in human form. The entire energy of the room shifted instantly. This wasn't a manager. This wasn't a reporter. This was trouble. The mob boss took a slow step forward, his leather shoes clicking against the floor. He gave Ali a cold smile, the kind of smile that never reached the eyes. "Champ," he said with a voice that felt like poison, "we need to talk. And you're gonna want to listen." Ali opened his eyes, calm as ever. "I don't talk business before a fight," he replied. "Oh, this isn't business," the mob boss whispered. "This is survival." He pulled a chair forward and sat down in front of Ali, leaning in so close that their faces were inches apart. "Round 3, he said. "You hit the canvas. You stay down. That's the deal." Ali didn't flinch. Not even a blink. The mob boss continued, voice low and icy. "You refuse, and let's just say, tonight won't end well for you. Or the people you care about." Most fighters would have panicked. Most fighters would have folded. But Ali slowly stood up, towering over him with the confidence of a man who feared nothing, not threats, not danger, not even death. And what Ali said next would shake the mob boss to his core, and lead to a moment no one in boxing history could ever forget. The arena backstage was a maze of noise, trainers shouting instructions, reporters rushing to catch last-minute interviews, workers pushing carts of equipment from one corner to another. The championship fight was only hours away, and everyone seemed to be vibrating with nerves. Except one man. Inside a small locker room tucked between two long hallways, Muhammad Ali sat alone on a wooden bench, completely still. The noise outside didn't matter. The pressure of the event didn't matter. The threats he had just heard didn't matter. He had fought bigger battles in life, inside and outside the ring. And he had survived them all. Ali breathed in deeply, his eyes closed, his shoulders relaxed. To anyone else, it looked like he was meditating. To those who knew him well, this was Ali stepping into the mindset of a warrior. Calm mind, sharp spirit, unshakable faith. A soft knock broke the silence. His trainer, Angelo Dundee, stepped in. "Champ, everything all right?" Ali gave a small smile. "I've been all right since the day I learned fear only controls those who obey it." But before Dundee could respond, he noticed something odd. A chair in the room was slightly aligned differently. A faint smell of expensive cologne lingered in the air. Someone had been here. Someone who didn't belong. Dundee frowned. "Ali, did anyone come in?" Ali opened his eyes slowly. "Yes," he said calmly. "A man who thinks power is intimidation. A man who believes money can buy honor." Dundee's face hardened. That mob boss again. What did he say? Ali didn't answer immediately. He picked up one of his hand wraps and stretched it between his fingers. "He wants me on my back in round 3, Ali said quietly. "He thinks fear will make me fold." Dundee swore under his breath. "You know we need to inform security." Ali raised a hand. "No. This is my fight. In the ring, and out of it." Dundee shook his head. "Champ, these people aren't just talk. They can cause real trouble." Ali smiled, that famous calm smile that always made people wonder if he knew something the rest of the world didn't. "Angelo, the moment you let fear decide your choices, you've already lost, even before the bell rings." Before continuing with the story, comment below where you're watching from. And if you believe courage is louder than fear, hit that subscribe button. Red heart, fire. Now back to the story. Outside the locker room, the arena lights flickered as workers tested the power systems. Fans were already lining up at the gates. Chants of "Ali! Ali! Ali!" echoed faintly through the corridors. But in another room just across the hall, the mob boss paced angrily. He had underestimated Ali's resolve. Most fighters crumbled under his threats, but Ali? Ali had stared him down like he wasn't even worth the breath it took to talk. He slammed his fist onto the table. "No one disrespects me," he growled. "No one." One of his bodyguards cleared his throat nervously. "Boss, maybe this isn't the right guy to push. He doesn't seem like someone who scares easy." "Everyone scares," the mob boss snapped. "You just have to hit them where it hurts." He grabbed his coat, his mind racing. If Ali wouldn't take the deal willingly, maybe he needed to take the choice away from him. Back in Ali's room, he began wrapping his hands again, slow and steady. Every movement was calm. But his eyes were sharp. "Champ," Dundee said, worry in his voice, "you really think you can handle this alone?" Ali nodded. "I'm not alone. Truth fights with me." And with that he stood, ready not just for the match, but for whatever storm was coming. Because Muhammad Ali didn't just enter fights. He entered history. The energy in the arena shifted long before the bell ever rang. Security guards tightened their patrol routes. Reporters whispered about strange men seen in the hallways. Even some trainers felt an uneasiness in the air, a storm nobody could see, but everyone could feel. But inside Muhammad Ali's locker room, the man at the center of that storm sat calmly, finishing the final loop of his hand wraps. He looked like a monk preparing for meditation, not a fighter minutes away from a world-changing bout. Angelo Dundee paced behind him, tension in every step. "Champ, listen to me," he said finally. "These guys aren't playing. If that mob boss keeps pushing, something bad could happen." Ali didn't look up. "Nothing bad happens to a man who stands for the right thing," he said softly. Dundee threw his hands in the air. "Ali, this isn't about right or wrong. These are dangerous people." Ali smiled, not arrogantly, not dismissively, but with a deep, unshakable confidence. "Angelo, God gave me a purpose. If I run from fear, I betray that purpose." Before Dundee could argue, the door clicked. Not a knock. Not an announcement. Just clicked open. Dundee spun around, fists tightening, ready to fight whoever stepped through. But what entered wasn't the mob boss, yet it wasn't good news either. A young attendant walked in, trembling, sweating, eyes darting from side to side. "See, champ," he stuttered. "I was told to bring you this." He held out a folded note with shaking fingers. Ali took it calmly. The paper was crisp, heavy, expensive, the kind used by men who wanted to sound dominant before they even spoke. Ali unfolded it. One sentence. Written in sharp, confident handwriting. "You throw the fight, or someone you love won't leave this arena." Dundee froze. "Ali, this is no joke. They're threatening your family." Ali's jaw tightened. No more smile. No humor. No shrug. Just a deep fire in his eyes. The fire that earned him the name the greatest. He stood up slowly, towering, powerful, shoulders squared like a warrior from another era. "Angelo," he said quietly, "bring me my robe." Dundee hesitated. "Ali, my robe." Dundee finally lifted the white-trimmed garment and draped it over Ali's broad shoulders. The words "the greatest" glimmered across the back under the flickering locker room lights. Ali took a deep breath, then turned toward the door. Dundee panicked. "What are you doing? Where are you going?" Ali paused at the doorway. To face the man who thinks threats can control destiny. The hallway. The long hallway outside the locker room was dim and mostly empty. The distant rumbling of the crowd sounded like thunder. Ali walked forward with purpose, each step echoing off the concrete floor. He looked like a king marching toward a throne no one could steal from him. Round the corner. 2 bodyguards appeared, the same mountains of muscle that shadowed the mob boss earlier. They stiffened when they saw Ali coming. "You boys lost?" Ali asked calmly. They exchanged nervous glances. This wasn't the reaction they expected. Boss wants to speak to you again, one muttered. Ollie stepped closer. You tell your boss I don't bow. But I'm willing to talk. Lead the way. The guards swallowed hard and nodded. The showdown. The mob boss was waiting inside a dimly lit VIP lounge, leaning back in a leather chair, legs crossed, cigar smoke curling around his head. He smiled when Ollie entered, a twisted smile meant to intimidate. Champ, he said, I knew you'd come around. Ollie walked directly up to him until he was standing above the seated mob boss. Before you say another word, Ollie said, voice firm, you leave my family out of this. The mob boss raised his eyebrows. Oh, you got my note. Good. Then you understand. Ollie slammed his fist onto the table, not in anger, but in a way that made the entire room jump. I understand one thing, Ollie growled. A coward threatens family. A fighter faces a fighter. The mob boss leaned forward, unfazed on the surface, but the twitch in his jaw gave him away. You think you're untouchable, he hissed. You think being champion protects you? Ollie lowered his voice, tone sharp as steel. No. My principles do. The mob boss stood up slowly, nose to nose with Ollie. You will go down in round 3, he said. Or I promise you, tonight becomes your last night. The room went silent. Ollie didn't blink. Didn't move. Didn't breathe. Then, with total calm, he whispered. You can threaten my body. You can threaten my career. But you will never, ever, threaten my soul. The mob boss blinked, stunned. No one had ever spoken to him like that. No one had ever stood so firmly in the face of absolute danger. Ollie turned and began walking toward the door. The mob boss shouted after him. This isn't over. Ollie didn't even look back. It is, he said. The moment you tried to buy me. And with that, Muhammad Ali walked out. Unbroken, unshaken, and more determined than ever to finish the fight his way. What happened next would change everything. The crowd outside roared like a living beast, the arena pulsing with energy, but deep in the hallways beneath the lights, a different kind of tension filled the air, colder, sharper, dangerous. Muhammad Ali walked back toward his locker room, footsteps heavy yet steady. He had just faced down the mob boss, and not only refused him, but refused him with the kind of calm that terrified dangerous men. Ali wasn't shaken, but everyone around him was. Angelo Dundee rushed toward him the moment he stepped back inside the room. What happened? Ali, tell me. Ali lifted a hand, signaling silence. He's done talking, Ali said. He knows who I am now. Dundee stared at him, searching his face for fear, panic, anything. But all he saw was resolve. Ali sat down quietly and began tightening his gloves, each pull of the strap deliberate, controlled. His face was serious now, sharper than before. The storm around him didn't matter. His mission did. Outside the door, murmurs started building. 2 staff members whispered in panic. I heard he threatened him again. They say the mob boss brought more men. No, they say the commissioner is coming down himself. Rumors spread through the hallway like fire. Someone knocked. It wasn't gentle. Boom, boom, boom. Dundee flinched. Ali didn't. A security officer barged in, short of breath, nervous, hand on his radio. Champ, you need to know something, he said. Ali continued adjusting his glove. Speak. The officer swallowed. There are men gathering near the north entrance. Big guys. No tickets. No credentials. We think they're his. Dundee felt his stomach drop. Ali, we need to move you. Right now. Ali shook his head. No one moves me. I walk where I choose. The officer hesitated, then nodded with reluctant respect. Everyone who came near Ali felt it, the aura of a man whose courage didn't depend on circumstances. But then the atmosphere changed. The hallway suddenly fell silent, unnaturally silent. One by one, voices stopped. Even the distant rumbling of the crowd outside felt muffled, as if the arena itself was holding its breath. Dundee peeked out the door, and his face drained of color. Walking down the hall in a formation of 6 was the mob boss. No smile. No cigar. No arrogance. Just cold purpose. And he wasn't hiding anymore. He marched like a man who believed rules didn't apply to him. Dundee slammed the door shut. "Ali, they're coming," he whispered. "We need backup." Ali stood slowly, shoulders broad, eyes steady. "Open the door." "Ali, no." "Open it, Angelo." Dundee reluctantly pulled the door open. The mob boss stopped right outside it, eyes locking with Ali's instantly. The bodyguards stiffened like wolves ready to pounce. The mob boss stepped forward. "You think you can walk away from me?" he growled. "You think saying no is enough?" Ali stepped closer, so close their shadows overlapped. "I don't think," Ali said calmly. "I know." The mob boss sneered. "You made a mistake, champ." Ali's voice dropped, cold, controlled, terrifying in its certainty. "My only mistake," he said, "was thinking you were a man who understood honor." The mob boss lunged forward, shoving a finger in Ali's face. "You go down in round 3, he hissed, "or someone pays the price." Before Ali could reply, the commissioner arrived. And the room flipped instantly. "What is the meaning of this?" the commissioner shouted. Behind him were 2 armed officers and several top officials from the Boxing Federation. The mob boss froze, caught like a criminal with a spotlight on him. Ali folded his arms calmly. The commissioner turned to Ali first. "Champ, we received reports of harassment, threats, and potential interference in tonight's match." Ali nodded quietly. "It happened," he said. "I handled it." The commissioner turned on the mob boss like a predator. "You," he barked. "You have no authority here. You have no business being anywhere near this area. And you have absolutely no right to threaten a champion before a sanctioned fight." The mob boss tried to smile, but his lips twitched with fear. "I was just talking. A misunderstanding." Is burning notes, bribing fighters, and bringing muscle also a misunderstanding? The commissioner snapped. Gasps filled the hallway. Even the mob boss's own bodyguards looked shaken. Ali stepped forward again, eyes locked on the mob boss. "You came here thinking fear can control people," Ali said. "But fear only controls the weak." The mob boss lowered his gaze. "Ali, listen. Look, I respect you. Truly. It was the first crack. The first stumble. The first sign of collapse. He was already folding." The commissioner signaled the officers. "Escort him out of the building. If he resists, arrest him." The mob boss panicked. "Wait. No, listen, champ, please." "I'm sorry." Ali didn't answer. He didn't need to. His silence was louder than any comeback. As the mob boss was dragged away, he kept looking back at Ali, muttering apologies, trying to save face. But the damage was done. He had tried to intimidate a legend, and ended up bowing to him instead. Ali walked back into his locker room, calm again, ready for the ring. But one thing was certain. The real fight tonight was already won. The air in the arena felt heavier than ever. Thousands of fans were still pouring through the gates, chanting Ali's name, unaware that behind the scenes, a war had almost unfolded. But in the underbelly of that arena, deep in the private corridors of fighters and officials, something unexpected was about to happen, something that would flip the entire situation upside down. Muhammad Ali sat quietly in his locker room again, gloves resting on his knees, eyes lowered as if in prayer or deep focus. The storm had come, but it had also passed. The mob boss had been dragged out by security, trembling, apologizing, begging. But Ali looked untouched. Untouched by fear. Untouched by threats. Untouched by the darkness that tried to sway him. "Phil." Dundee couldn't relax. "Champ," he said softly, "you sure you're all right?" Ali didn't look up. "When you walk in truth, Angelo, nothing shakes you." Before Dundee could respond, a loud commotion exploded in the hallway. Not shouting. Not threats. Not fear. But urgency. Heavy footsteps. Multiple people. A sense of importance moving closer and closer. Dundee peeked through the door, and his eyes widened. "Ali," he whispered. "You need to see this." Ali stood. The hallway was now filled with top-level individuals. Arena executives, state commissioners, security directors, legal advisors, and 2 men carrying thick folders of documents. At the center of them was the chief commissioner himself, face red, breathing heavily as if he had sprinted across the building. "Champ!" he shouted. "Mr. Ali!" Ali stepped into the hallway, back straight, presence commanding without trying. "What's all this?" he asked calmly. The commissioner adjusted his glasses, his voice a mix of apology and urgency. "Mr. Ali, we owe you an explanation. And we owe you protection." One of the executives stepped forward, flipping open a folder full of printed emails, reports, and security logs. "Champ," he said, "we've been investigating someone attempting to influence this fight. Bribery, threats, infiltration of staff." Dundee lifted an eyebrow. "You mean the mob boss, right?" But the executive shook his head. "No, it's bigger than him." Ali remained unshaken. "Go on." The commissioner stepped even closer. "For weeks, someone has been trying to interfere with this match. We didn't know who, until now." Ali's jaw clenched slightly. "And who did you find?" The commissioner nodded to an officer. The officer stepped forward, holding a tablet. On the screen, messages, wire transfers, photos of hidden meetings. And then, the name. The officer tapped the display. "Champ, it wasn't just the mob boss. It was the syndicate behind him." A ripple ran through the hallway. A few staff members gasped. Dundee cursed under his breath. Ali, still calm. The commissioner continued. "We stopped them before they could escalate. When we detained the mob boss earlier, he talked. A lot. And once he realized he couldn't intimidate you, he turned on the people above him." Ali raised an eyebrow. "He talked." "Oh, he sang," the commissioner said. "Like a choir boy." A faint smile touched the corner of Ali's mouth. But the commissioner wasn't done. "Champ, we need something from you." Ali leaned slightly forward. "What is it?" The commissioner held out a document. A formal complaint. A protective order. And a statement confirming the threats. "If you sign this," he said, "we can legally shut these people out of the sport for life. We can protect every fighter who steps into this arena. But we need your word." Ali didn't touch the paper. Instead, he asked quietly, "And what happens if I don't sign?" The commissioner sighed. "They'll come back. Maybe not today. Maybe not tomorrow. But someday." Ali looked down the hallway, the same hallway where the mob boss had once strutted with arrogance, but later had been dragged away in humiliation. Then Ali spoke, voice low, steady. "All my life, I've fought for more than titles. I've fought for what's right. If my signature protects fighters who can't protect themselves, then give me the pen." The hallway fell silent. Ali signed. The moment he lifted the pen, something shifted, a sense of justice settling into the air. But then, the doors at the far end burst open again. Everyone turned. 3 high-ranking officials entered, carrying a sealed envelope. "Mr. Ali," one of them said breathlessly, "we came as fast as we could. We didn't want you stepping into that ring tonight without knowing this." The envelope was handed directly to Ali. Ali opened it. Inside was a letter, handwritten, smooth penmanship, full of regret. It was from the mob boss. A real apology. "Champ," the letter read, "I crossed a line no man should cross. Your courage humbled me. I have withdrawn my men, my influence, and everything I planned. I was wrong. I'm sorry." Dundee blinked in disbelief. "Ali, he actually apologized." Ali folded the letter carefully. "He wasn't apologizing to me," he said softly. "He was apologizing to himself, for forgetting what honor feels like." The commissioner stepped forward again. "Mr. Ali, if everyone had your integrity, this sport would be untouchable." Ali placed the letter down. "I fight for truth. Not for fame. Not for fear." Before the officials left, Ali turned to the camera crew gathering nearby. He smiled gently. "Before we continue, comment Ali forever, if you stand with real strength. And don't forget to hit subscribe for more stories that remind us courage has no price. Boxing glove fire. The hallway erupted with applause, quiet, respectful, but full of awe. Ali returned to his locker room, and the world waited for the moment he stepped into the ring. But now, he wasn't just fighting an opponent. He was fighting for every fighter who'd ever been threatened by corruption. And the greatest part was still to come. When Muhammad Ali stepped out of the gym that evening, the sky above had already turned a deep shade of blue. The crowd of fans waiting outside surged forward as soon as they saw him, shouting his name, begging for autographs, some simply reaching out just to touch the legend. Ali smiled, joked, shadowboxed for the kids, and slowly made his way toward the car waiting to take him home. But what Ali didn't know, tonight wasn't over. Not even close. Because the mob boss who had tried to force him to throw the fight had returned. And this time, he wasn't alone. A black car in the shadows. As Ali walked toward the car, his trainer Angelo Dundee froze mid-step. At the far end of the street, a long black Cadillac had parked silently. No headlights. No movement. No sound. Just a dark block of metal sitting in the shadows. "Ali," Angelo muttered, grabbing his arm. "We got company." Ali didn't need an explanation. He felt it. That same cold energy. That same danger. That same tension he had experienced in the locker room earlier that day. The Cadillac door opened. Out stepped the same mob boss, sharp suit, slick hair, a face carved from stone. But this time, he wasn't pretending to be friendly. This time, the fake smile was gone. And behind him, 4 men came out. Big men. Broad shoulders. Hard faces. Hands tucked inside jackets. The crowd went silent. Even the kids stopped smiling. "You should have taken the deal, champ." The mob boss walked forward, slow and confident, clapping sarcastically. "Well, well," he said loudly. "If it isn't the people's champion." Ali didn't flinch. Didn't blink. Didn't step back. He stood tall, shoulders relaxed, chin lifted. "What you want now?" Ali said. "Round 2. Some nervous laughter came from the crowd, but the mob boss continued walking, and the laughter died instantly. "You embarrassed me today," the boss said, his voice low. "You humiliated me in front of my men. Nobody does that." Ali crossed his arms. "Man, I embarrassed a lot of people. That's what happens when you fight the best." The boss's jaw tightened. "You should have taken the offer," he answered. "Could have saved yourself a world of trouble." Angelo stepped in front of Ali. "You made your point. Now leave." The boss ignored him. Tension at breaking point. The 4 mob enforcers spread out, forming a half-circle around Ali. Hands still hidden. The crowd slowly backed away, creating space. Mothers grabbed their children. Men whispered anxiously. Some pulled out their phones, unsure whether to record or run. But Ali, he didn't move an inch. He looked the boss in the eyes and said in his calm, deep voice, "You're wasting your time. I ain't afraid of you." A low rumble spread across the crowd. The boss stepped closer until their faces were only inches apart. "You think being famous makes you untouchable," he said. "You think the crowd's gonna save you?" Ali leaned forward slightly. "No," he said. "God saves me. The truth saves me. And the people, my people, always stand with me." For the first time, the mob boss hesitated. Just a flicker. But it was enough. Ali saw it. Everyone saw it. The man wasn't expecting courage. He wasn't expecting steel. He wasn't expecting a fighter who couldn't be intimidated. Ali takes control of the crowd. Ali suddenly raised his voice. "Everybody listen up." The crowd snapped to attention. "These men think they can come into our neighborhood," Ali said loudly, "threaten your champion, and walk away like kings." Murmurs turned into shouts. "No. Hell no. Back off." The mob men glanced around, uncomfortable now. This wasn't the quiet corner meeting they had planned. This was a crowd. This was community. This was Ali's world. And they were hopelessly outnumbered. The boss snarled. "You think noise scares me?" Ali smiled slowly. "No. But the truth does. Ali's words that broke the mob. Ali stepped forward, close enough for only the boss to hear. You sent your boys to scare me, he whispered. But you forgot one thing. The boss swallowed nervously. Ali leaned in even further and said, You can't break a man who's already fought the entire world. The boss froze. Emotion flickered across his face. Fear, frustration, confusion. He had met politicians, billionaires, criminals, soldiers. But he had never met a man like Ali. Someone who didn't just refuse to be bought. He couldn't be bent. A moment that shocked the crowd. The boss's jaw worked as if he were about to shout something back. But then, slowly, and much to the shock of his own men, he stepped back. 1 step. 2 steps. Then he said the last thing anyone expected. I didn't come to fight. The crowd gasped. The mob boss wiped his brow and looked away. Look, Ali. Maybe I overstepped earlier. Ali raised an eyebrow. You mean threatening me? Silence. The boss clenched his teeth, then finally forced the words out. I apologize. The entire crowd erupted in disbelief. This wasn't a normal apology. This was a mob boss, one of the most feared men in the city, backing down publicly to a boxer. But not just any boxer. Muhammad Ali. Ali's legendary closing line. Ali nodded calmly. Good, he said. Now walk away. And tell your boys. You don't mess with people who fight with love in their hearts. The boss turned sharply and motioned to his men. They got back into the Cadillac. The engine roared. The car pulled away. And the street exploded in cheers. Ali raised both hands, smiling. See, he shouted. I shook up the world again. The street was still buzzing long after the mob boss's Cadillac disappeared around the corner. People hugged each other, kids jumped up and down, reporters tried squeezing through the crowd, and everyone wanted just one thing. More of Muhammad Ali. Ali stood in the center, calm, glowing with confidence, the same way he looked after knocking down an opponent. Except tonight, he hadn't thrown a punch. And still won the biggest fight of the evening. But Ali wasn't done. Not yet. He lifted both hands to silence the crowd. And slowly, the cheering stopped. Listen to me. All of you. Ali began speaking with that powerful voice that always made the whole world stop. Some men fight with guns, he said. Some men fight with fear. Some fight with money. But me, I fight with truth. The crowd erupted again, but Ali kept going. I didn't back down today because I'm brave. I didn't stand up to a mob because I'm strong. I did it because all of you believe in me. Because you stand with me. Because when the people stand together, no power in the world can break them. People nodded. Some even cried. Ali continued. That man wanted me to throw a fight. Give up. Bow down. You know why. He paused. Because some people don't understand a man with principle. They don't understand faith. They don't understand a fighter who refuses to be bought. Ali pounded his fist into his palm. But this world needs men who stand up, even when it's dangerous. The crowd's emotional reaction. A woman shouted, We love you, Ali. A kid yelled, You the real champ. Ali laughed and pointed at the child. You know it, little man. I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, and I don't do business with fools chasing money. The entire street roared with laughter. A final message to the mob boss. Ali turned serious again. Let tonight be a message, he said. A message to anybody who wants to control fighters, artists, athletes, or any hard-working man or woman. He raised his finger dramatically. You can't buy a soul that belongs to God. Silence fell over the crowd. It was one of those moments people knew they would remember for the rest of their lives. Reporters push in. Ali drops a bombshell. Cameras started flashing. Reporters surrounded him. Ali, were you scared? Is this mob threat going to stop you? Will you report this to the police? Ali held up a hand. First of all, ain't nobody stopping me. I didn't come this far to bow down to fear. Second, scared? Baby, I've been hit by George Foreman. If I survive that, a man in a suit doesn't bother me none." People laughed again. "But the most important thing," Ollie added, "is this: I fight for the people. I fight for the kids watching me. I fight for the ones who need hope." Ollie encourages the community. He stepped forward and put his arms around two young boys standing nearby. "You see these kids? They need examples. Not gangsters. Not threats. They need courage. They need guidance. They need to see a man stand tall." Ollie looked around with fire in his eyes. "So today, I stood tall for them." The crowd cheered loudly. Ali's final words before leaving. The car arrived to take Ollie home. But before stepping inside, he turned back and shouted, "Remember tonight. You witnessed something big. Not because I'm special, but because I refuse to sell my principles. And if I can do it, you can do it." He raised his fist high. "Stay strong. Stay true. And keep fighting." The crowd roared as Ollie finally stepped into the car and drove away. Call to action, as you requested. Now add this at the end of your video. If you enjoyed this story of courage, hit that subscribe button. Comment, "Ollie the legend," if you think he was the greatest of all time. More unbelievable Ollie stories coming soon. Don't miss the next chapter.